that's you. I understand that. I was starting to question some durability issues with those arrows, right? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how many arrows are sitting in my backstop, but there are several broken arrows there in my backstop right now. And so I was shooting those. I took those hunting this year. I shot two does. The first doe, no problems whatsoever. The second doe that I shot with an HLR, upon its exit, it broke in at least three places. And so how this went down, 20-yard shot. It was back of lungs, liver, and exited out, more towards the guts. So it wasn't like up through the shoulder. It wasn't any of those types of shots, right? It didn't go through any heavy bones. Well, let the arrow go, 20-yard shot, and I heard it hit. And then immediately after the hit, I heard something like light kind of hitting the ground behind, like some rocks behind. Like I hear it like something ricocheting off the rocks behind, which I assume was the arrow. Like maybe, arrow skipped off some rocks, was skipping off the ground or whatever is what I thought it was, the arrow in itself, right? So she runs off. I give her a little bit of time. I get out of the blind. I go out and look, where she was kind of looking around on the ground. And to my surprise, and I wasn't expecting to see it sitting here, but to my surprise was the front, maybe first third of my arrow, which was the broadhead and a little bit of the shaft, and was broken. All right. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. But it was laying on the ground right where she had been standing. Like it had to have hit, laid there after it passed through. So then I go out and I use, actually, this was a deer that let Kendrick blood trail. Took Kendrick out, let him do a blood trail on her, and he found her, which wasn't hard to find, but still he went out and found her, right?
Still gets him
Uh,
excited.
gets him some activity, got him excited, got him out and doing it again. So I let him do the blood trail, and he found her. And when I found her, I'm looking and I see a bit of, a little bit of the shaft of my arrow sticking out of, from the exit side of it. I'm like, hmm. And so I grab a hold of it and I pull it out. It's only several inches. It's basically like an inch or more, inch or two more than where my fletching started. So basically just the last part of the arrow was sticking out of her, and the fletchings is what got hung up. Like that's what didn't make its way all the way out. So I grabbed that part after, field dressed her, drug her out. So I took that part and then I matched it up with the front part that I had found that had the broadhead on it. And then I compared that to a full arrow. There's a whole section of arrow missing. So at least that arrow broke in at least three places upon exit. And it's not like it hit the ground. It's not like it hit she spun, ducked, and hit the ground. Like she took it like a champ, and there was none of that. So I'm sorry. At that point, I made the decision, like, I'm going to have to find something else. I'll go back to shooting the RIP TKOs. I've never had a problem with them. Like, I'll go back to shooting those. But like at this point, there's many arrows, and I almost feel bad that I didn't make the decision beforehand, just based off of what I was seeing, just in my practice, you know. But to be fair, it did work on the first doe. Didn't have a problem. But when that happened on the second doe, I was like, I can't do this anymore, right? I can't, because that will kill your penetration. If that had happened just on impact, there'd have been no penetration. I probably would have wounded that doe, right?
Yeah, I mean, even think about just, had you taken it elk hunting and hit a solid rib.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I can't. And I know somebody, depending how big this podcast ever gets, somebody's listening to this at some point. There's going to be somewhere that somebody's going to say, I've shot everything with these and I've not had a problem. I get that. I'm telling you based off my experience that this is the issues that I've had.